the add back of hours, and those were the 13 locations that were identified as providing services to the lower resource communities. And so that is what that 16.2 FTE add is. And so for our 21-22 budget, our funded by the library parcel tax was 73.27 FTE. And so that was approximately 20% of our whole department FTE. And so this has been pretty consistent throughout the past years, that the library parcel tax has funded about 20% of our staff positions. And so that's continuing to be the trend. Also, we had books and materials, including e-resources that were funded, some annual fees and software upgrades. We had some system-wide technology, contract and licensing, as well as some data storage upgrade project. And so those were things that were funded in 21-22. Next slide, please. So now we get into the revenues and expenditures that were included in the audit. So annually, the library parcel tax can be increased up to 3%, but it has to be tied to CPI, and it maxes out at 3%. So in fiscal year 21-22, the percentage increase was 1.57%. And the amount of annual revenue was a little over $10 million. And so it's broken down into categories here. And so personal services includes our staffing. Materials acquisitions is all of our books and e-resources that might have been acquired through the fiscal year 21-22. Non-personal services equipment, a variety of things are included in there, including supplies, performers. And so there's a variety of items that could have been funded through that bucket. Automation projects is our IT equipment or any type of related projects. And then of course our annual external audit, and then transfer out. So in transfer out, every year there is the transfer out that's included as well as part of the expenditures. Next slide, please. So in general, just our balance sheet. So our beginning fund balance was 6.7 million. In the year, we received the revenues of over 10 million. Our expenditures were a little over 11.4 million. And so our change in fund balance for 21-22 was $1.4 million. And so we ended the year with our fund balance of $5.3 million. And so that's just a high level summary of our where we started the fiscal year, what our revenues were, what our expenditures were, and where we ended the fiscal year. And so when you think about how we started this fiscal year, it's going to start with our ending fund balance of 5.3 million. So that's how we started July 1st, 2022. It just keeps rolling over. Next slide, please. So the library parcel tax fund was reviewed on an audit basis. So they review financial records, they review any justification or backup documents related to project management costs. It could have been documents associated with a contract or invoices that support expenditures. They also review internal controls, just making sure that the employees that are perhaps making approvals of certain expenditures aren't also the ones that are entering them into the system, aren't also the ones that are doing multiple steps in the process, making sure there's a separation of duties and that there are those internal controls in place to make sure there's more than one person's eyes on it, more than one person verifying and validating that information, and that those payments are accurate as they get through the financial system and are paid. For this particular audit year, there were no audit findings of the inappropriate expenditures. So there's not that you guys hopefully read the audit, but most of it is just focused on the actual expenditures, the revenues, and then kind of what the balance is and those specific categories that were reviewed on the previous slides. Next slide, please. So with that, I close the presentation, but I do want to open it up for any questions that anyone might have. Joe from the City Auditor's Office is here. He is the City Auditor. And then Eric from the Finance Department is also here.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. All right, Commissioner Kelly.
Sure. Thank you very much. I have one comment and a couple of questions because I'm still new at this particular area. I'm sure that for the future, you're going to be taking in the factor that the inflation factor for this next year is probably going to be dramatically higher than the 1.5 percentage that you put in. So you can comment on that a little bit later if you feel like it. And the definition, I don't know what transfers out means, and I don't know what inquiries of liquidation mean either. So if you can define that, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, so in financial terms, we sometimes do an encumbrance of the actual contract. And so, for example, if we had plans to enter into a contract for, let's just say, a carpet replacement at one of our locations, and the contract amount was supposed to be $200,000, and let's say it came in at $185,000. So the $15,000 is still kind of there hanging out tied to the contract. And so what happens is you make the payment and that $15,000 is still there. And so what you do is you liquidate it. So it goes back to the fund. So the $15,000 would go back to the library parcel tax for future use. And so it's making sure that all of those are happening appropriately, and that $15,000 or whatever amount is going back to the library parcel tax to be used for its intended purpose that's approved by the voters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the transfers out, what is that?
The transfers out covers, I don't know if, I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't recall if it's a transfer to the general fund, but I don't know.
I can take
Eric?
that, Andrea.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
So Joe Royce, City Auditor. So if you look at note 4 on page 9 of the financials, there's a note which talks about intergovernmental expenditures. And the transfer out refers to debt service related to City Hall. And I'll read from it. It says the costs are calculated as a percentage of library staff occupying City Hall, coupled with an estimated use of the council chambers and other City Hall offices, and as a percentage of central services that benefit all departments. So some of it is an overhead kind of allocation based on support services housed in City Hall, and it's the debt service on City Hall that came from a number of years back. That makes sense.
Thank you both very much. Appreciate that.
Is that it, Commissioner Kelly?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yep. I forgot to, but Cassie, maybe you can remind me, is that there's no public here today, no?
No, there's not.
Okay, so just because I missed the public comment, I meant to do it because there's no public comment here. No public members here. Okay, Commissioner Allen.
It wasn't in one of the slides, but I'm just assuming as with other parcel taxes that there is a senior exemption.
I do not believe there is a senior exemption.
There's
I
not.
don't.
Okay. I never do it, but I just wanted to find out if there was.
Yeah, no, that the original parcel tax measure several years ago did not include one. And then when we did the renewal in 2014, I believe, it was basically a renewal of the existing for a longer duration. So there was no measure or exemption added. I will say we've only gotten maybe one inquiry about it in the last 9 years that I've been here.
Yeah. It's only $25, so it's not like it's a huge amount. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Okay, anyone else? Right, Andrea. Moving on. Are you still up or are we going to get ready? Because I think there's a draft memorandum that you're gonna, yeah. Wait, there we go. Is there anything else that you want? I need to call to our attention, Andrea.
No, that's it.
Okay,
Thank you
got
so much.
Got it. I'm just looking at Run of Showan. There's a section there. Okay. So now I'm going to call for the vote. All of the, if we're finished with the comments, all of those that are in favor of accepting the auditor's report that will be submitted, please say aye. Aye.
Do we need a motion for that?
Oh my gosh. Thank you,
Wendy?
Commissioner Allen. Would you mind making the motion? We'll do this over.
I move approval.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
This is Commissioner Brown. I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Let's do this again. All those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone who's opposed? Anyone who needs to abstain? All right, it's passed. Thank you. Okay, we are going to have our next Library Parcel Tax Committee meeting November 15th, 2023 at 7 p.m. We are adjourning this at 7:19. All right, we are moving on. Jill, we don't have to wait till 7:30, right? Didn't we fix this so we don't have to wait?
Correct.
We,
Sorry, Anne, go ahead.
Or Anne?
no, we can move immediately.
I
Joel
love it.
was right.
All right, let's call to order the Library and Education Commission meeting at 7:19 and 30 seconds. We'll give it enough time. Let's see, we all know the rules. Would you mind, Cassie, taking roll?
Of course. So Chair Wendy,
Here.
Vice Chair Magana, Commissioner Sizer,
Here.
Commissioner Westfall,
Here.
Commissioner Reyes,
Here.
Commissioner Thorson,
Here.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly,
Here,
Commissioner Jolly,
Here.
Commissioner Ramos,
Present.
Commissioner Brown,
Still present.
Commissioner Allen,
Here.
and we have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Allen, let's see if I can get it correct this time. We're moving on to the consent calendar to approve the agenda for today and approve the meeting minutes from October 19, 2022. Can I have someone make the motion?
I
Move the agenda.
I move to approve with the correction
Move to approve with which
on the
correct?
agenda.
Okay,
Yeah, the meeting is actually in 2023, not 2022. Our next one.
approve.
This is,
Oh, wait.
this is for the regular meeting.
That's what I'm sitting on.
I'm going there. Let me get there. You're right. Thank you for that correction on item 7. It says January 18, 2022. It should be 2023. Thank you, Commissioner Kelly, for that catch.
Yeah, so I move to approve with that correction.
All right, thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Everybody's doing great tonight. Thank you. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? And anyone need to abstain? All right, moving along. Cass, still no, is there any correspondence?
No, there's none.
Thank you. And did any public members join us?
No, they have not.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving into an action item. We are going to have a commission budget commission budget activities subcommittee appointment to prepare annual budget position message to council. That's a mouthful. Andrea, this is you again. Andrea, you are up. This is the action item is the commission will select a group of commissioners to prepare the annual budget position message to city council.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So this is a very exciting subcommittee, and I really hope you take this opportunity to volunteer and be engaged in the budget process. So what we do is get a couple of volunteers from the commission to be on the subcommittee, and we meet about 3 times, and each meeting is anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. And so what we will do is work together to craft the budget position message to council and to the mayor and city council. And so that timeline will align with pretty much with kind of the timeline of us submitting our department budget proposals. Our department budget proposals are due at the end of January, and this budget message will be completed and or at least in draft form and ready for the February commission meeting to be reviewed and approved at that time. And so it gives you an opportunity to be more engaged in the process. And hopefully I'm looking for some volunteers. And like I said, it would be 3 meetings. One meeting hopefully towards the end of November, one towards mid-December after we get official budget direction memo issued from the city manager's office, and then one in January to kind of finalize the memo and make sure it's agendized in time for the February commission meeting. And so if anybody has any questions about the subcommittee activities or time commitment or anything else, I'm available to answer those questions, but definitely looking forward to getting some volunteers.
Commissioner Allen, do you have your hand raised or is that from before?
No, I have a hand raised. I thought we had volunteers who volunteered last month.
That was for the audit.
Oh, okay. I get confused.
Commissioner, I said the exact same thing in a text to Ann Grabowski about 5 minutes ago. So don't feel bad.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Commissioner Brown.
I volunteer. I don't think I did enough on this last one because we never seem to coordinate. So I would, if you'll let me, I'd like to try again.
Yes.
Great. Sounds wonderful. We have one. Commissioner Ramos.
I was on it last year and that was fun. So I will volunteer again this year.
Thank you. You did an excellent job. Thank you. We appreciate it. Commissioner Ramos.
It's fun. Everyone heard it.
Do
So-
we have any others? Andrea, how many do you need? How many is preferable?
If 3, that would be great. We have 2. I think 3 would be nice.
Are there other commissioners who Commissioner Thorson?
I can do it if no one else is interested. I have done it before, so if someone else wants to, I'm happy to step aside, but happy to be the 3rd.
All right. Does anyone, this is like a game. Does anyone want to take Commissioner Thorson's seat or should we give it to her?
Give it to her.
All right.
You mean we don't volunteer Commissioner Magana since he's not here?
I know, right? That's usually how it should work, but no, I think we'll be nice today. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Thorson. We appreciate it. Thank you all. We use this budget message in our advocacy. It's really is important work and it's the work that this commission really appreciates. So thank you. And thank you for your leadership, Andrea. Okay, so now let's get this right. It's an action item. Do we need a vote? I'm checking Anne or Jill.
I thought this was an information item, but we might have messed that up between the agenda and the slide.
So
Let's see.
I think you're okay to create a subcommittee because it's an annual subcommittee.
Okay. All right, then. So this is an information item, not an action item, and we've created your subcommittee for you. We're very excited, so we can get ready to move. Are we ready? So my next, just let me ask Anne again before I ask for another vote, is the digital literacy and public technology and outreach performance an action item or an information item?
That is an action item. It's to accept the report.
Okay, perfect. And so you're on.
Thanks, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Ann Grabowski, Division Manager for Digital Equity and Public Technology. We've come to you about twice a year over the last 2.5 years now with an update on our digital, first called digital inclusion, sometimes referred to as digital literacy, morphed into digital equity and co-branded under the auspices of SJ Access. But suffice to say, we're here to talk about that whole subject matter all over again. To provide you with an update of our mid-year activities and our future look into the second half of this fiscal year. Kathy, if you could jump to the next slide. So it's just a snapshot of the work that is going on in this work plan, separate and apart from the teaching and learning digital literacy instruction courses, which you received an update on last month under the Education and Digital Literacy annual report. And so rather than repeat that. We're just going to cut that out of this update, but please do know that it is a part of our broader program. So this year we've got 8,000, a little over 8,000 hotspots that are actively managed and distributed through our 25 library locations. In the past, you'll remember that many of those hotspots were distributed through schools. This year, we finalized the recollection of many of those hotspots and have simplified our distribution model to just be through library branches, which is actually the preference of the schools, so that they don't have to manage dozens and hundreds and in a few cases thousands of hotspots in their IT closets. And it's a much simpler message for families to say, use your student library card, which some of you learned about last month, and go to the library and check out a hotspot. And so we've simplified the distribution that way. We have about 8,000 that are out and about, averaging at about 95% checkout rate. So the program is in high demand, as well used. Sometimes there are very high demands on those hotspots based on the iteration or the circulation of the inventory. I think last month we were managing a situation where there were 200 holds on hotspots. And we had to be very creative on how to fill those. So it is a huge task to manage the inventory, and the numbers are not small. But more on that in just a little bit. Our community Wi-Fi program has made big gains this year. We started when we inherited this program. We had one attendance area that was functional. We quickly received 2 more that were up and functional. And then we had a plan to build 5 more. And so as of today, 2 of those are fully built and operational. So we have 5 attendance areas serving about 160,000 residents. We have 1 that is finalizing its construction. It's in its final testing phase, actually, and going into project closeout. And that will give us another almost 17,000 residents being served by community Wi-Fi. And then our last 2 areas, Mount Pleasant and Silver Creek, are in pre-construction and expected to start at the end of this year and into next year. So we're getting really close to completing our community Wi-Fi goals, which is really exciting. I failed to mention earlier that we have a lot of computing devices. So in addition to the 8,000 hotspots, we've got just over 2,000 Chromebooks or iPads, and a very small number of actual laptops that are in circulation that are also in a moderate demand, not as high as hotspots, but still fairly high. We've added SJ311 as a service, or digital equity community Wi-Fi as a service under SJ311, so that residents can tell us how their community Wi-Fi is functioning in their neighborhood if they live in an area where we have an active network. And we've established a pretty strong outreach campaign. On a go-forward basis, we're continuing to work on an updated needs assessment and an evaluation. But that's just a snapshot. We'll dive into each of these program areas in just a moment. Next slide, please. So here's the high level of hotspots and devices. On the left column, you'll see the type of device, so whether it is a filtered device or an unfiltered device. You'll see the quantity, the general checkout rate, and this is a point in time. So at this moment, I pulled these numbers a week ago. At the moment I pulled those numbers, that's what they are. The 95% is a longer term average that you saw on the last slide. And tying us into the last item you just discussed, which is the budget, the funding source I think is really relevant here. You're only going to see one of the device types that is funded fully by the city general fund. So all of the other funding types are one-time funds that we'll need to find replacement funds for to continue connectivity in the next fiscal year. And we can talk more about that as we go through the budget process. It's not for discussion here today, but this is, and I won't go through all of the numbers, this is the breakdown of what the inventory looks like at SJPL right now. And there will be significant discussions about replacing some of these one-time funds to continue the connectivity, since the devices are in such high need. And we take that as an indication that we need to continue, if not increase, the number of devices available to the general public. Next slide. I keep this, I don't think you guys need to see this slide, but I keep it in here because it shows progress. When we started, we had very few stars, and we're moving quite, well, I won't say quickly, but we are moving progressively towards closing many of these projects out. So you'll see that since we last spoke, Independence and Andrew P. Hill have become open for public use. Oak Grove, as I mentioned, is in its last phases of optimization and is going to turn on maybe the last week of November, but probably the first week of December if I'm being a little bit conservative. And then we'll earn our star in that on that row. And then Mount Pleasant and Silver Creek are going to begin construction in December and January, respectively, and should be open for public use in March and April. But those construction contracts are awarded, those projects are funded. We're just quite honestly waiting on supplies and materials to come in so that the teams can start prefabricating radios and access points and ensuring that we have fiber in all connection areas and all of the fun things that that make the project go. Next slide. I don't think people realize how big SJ Access Community Wi-Fi is, so wanted to just show you on a map. You know, we focused with Eastside Union High School District, so of course this is geolocated in the east side of San Jose, but also in central San Jose and then South San Jose. So what you see represented here in green are the general coverage areas of the 6 now active networks that are up and running. So we've got Independence up at the top. The next, if you're going down the list, is James Lick. Left to right in the middle there on the left is Yerba Buena. Then Overfelt in the Seven Trees area is Andrew P. Hill. And then we drop down in the southern part of the city to Oak Grove. And Oak Grove is the network that is going to open shortly. Those first 5 network areas that are on the list constitute about 40,000 households. And we're estimating at about 4 people per household in many of these neighborhoods. I mean, it's an estimate that we're reaching about 160,000 residents that live there. That doesn't account for the people that drive through, that work in the area, that are visiting their grandma and using the internet. You saw in the memo that the actual unique users are much higher than just the 160,000 residents that live there. In Oak Grove, we'll pick up another 16,800, like I mentioned. And so we're getting much, much closer to serving a very substantial population. Because this is free Wi-Fi, we don't have subscription numbers, we don't have payment numbers, we don't have stronger estimates of exactly how many people or who we're serving, and that's by design because it's free, and we also want to ensure privacy of those that are using the service. So that's why we rely back on estimates. It's not for lack of trying, it's intentional and by design. Another important function of community Wi-Fi is the speed at which you can connect to the internet. Right now, the current speeds are throttled at 20 megabits per second up and down. And that varies based on demand of the network at the time. I'm currently scoping an infrastructure project that would change the speeds to 100 by 100 symmetrical, which is a significant change in speed and availability. And so we'll have more information on that in the next, probably in the next 3 to 4 months. But just know on the back end, we're hoping to increase the speeds and the quality of the network pretty significantly before the close of this fiscal year. Next slide. In terms of outreach and engagement, there's definitely a lot of use of the program. You'll see here on the screen on the left-hand side with the larger graphic, that is a mailer that went out to every single household that was covered by that green map that you saw of the community Wi-Fi neighborhoods. Our excellent marketing and communications team developed that, and with the help of our data team, shipped that out to every single doorstep. We actually had residents bringing it into the library, like talking to the staff, excited about getting their postcard in the mail. So we've found that to be fairly successful. On the back of that postcard was a QR code to get people to report how well the service was actually supporting them. Through SJ 311, we've seen a significant increase in reports for service, and that's really important data for us to understand how we can better improve the network or troubleshoot areas that we think are being served well, but maybe are not being served well. So we'll continue to do this type of direct mail marketing and outreach that way. SJ 311, you see there next on the screen where the service delivery is. And then it's just incidentally on our library website all the time, which this gets us a significant amount of traffic actually just being on that navigation menu. In addition to these tangible ways that we're reaching out to the public, both intentionally and passively, we're continuing to work with all 39 CBOs that we've partnered with through the entire project and program. We continue to support the Digital Inclusion Fund grantees and through regular library programming and outreach to the community. There's been significant discussion and conversation that's really hard to quantify. Next slide. The future actions for next spring, we're going to continue to work on and finalize the digital equity and broadband strategy assessment and report. That assessment and report will be coming in later spring for your review, and then we'll move on to the City Council, and is expected to be a comprehensive report on connectivity, affordability, digital equity, digital literacy, and an assessment of all of the federal funds that we should consider leveraging as we move into the next phase, and like the future looking phase of how we can support the community. We will also be considering the budget proposal to continue SJ Access off of the one-time funds that it's supported by right now. And then, as I mentioned, we have a lot of work to do on an intergovernmental relations, from an intergovernmental relations standpoint, to consider grant making at the state and federal level, mostly for the infrastructure grant funds that are coming in. The California Public Utilities Commission has several infrastructure and design grants. One that we've already applied to, the Local Agency Technical Assistance Grant. We've applied for $500,000 in funding to support an expansion of community Wi-Fi. The Federal Communications Commission is supporting a significant amount of outreach grant funding that we will continue to understand and then probably pursue. And then also seeking additional funding through the Emergency Connectivity Fund to pay for the devices that we have being lent through the library location. I think that's the last slide. Yep, there we go. So I'm available for questions.
Great. A ton of work. Oh my God. I don't even know where to start, except to say thank you. Commissioners, any questions, comments before we move? All right, Commissioner Zisser.
I mean, it's always a masterclass in how cities should do equity work, and it starts with letting the library system lead it. And I know this is a national model. I know that your work is appreciated throughout the city government. It's just an incredible effort. And it makes me proud to live in San Jose. Yeah, really humbled to be able to have these monthly interactions with people who are leading on this stuff. So really appreciate it. I know this update was sort of limited in scope. I will just flag, I think because it's, an equity effort, clearly an enormous amount of thought and planning has gone into ensuring that it does reach the people who need it the most, and that's clear. I just think quantifying that and putting that demographic data in whatever sort of final report or and even just getting a glimpse of it in these kinds of updates would be great. I think it's well beyond benefit of the doubt. It's total confidence in the fact that you're getting it right. But I just don't want anyone else to miss it. And I just don't think we should take it for granted that, you know, it really, I think showing that impact, showing the difference between, I think as San Joseans, we're like, well, East San Jose. But I think newer people to San Jose, people who don't have sort of the wonky familiarity. I'm horrible personally with geography, and I like seeing sort of like, how does this break down in terms of the census tracts racially, socioeconomically? And I think showing that equity impact, I think you're so far along in this project that it's really, I know this was really about implementation, and not about sort of impact per se. So I appreciate the narrow focus, but I think just getting that constant reminder that look what we're accomplishing here, look who this is serving, I think is just, I think it would just add a layer to what's already a very rich, obvious, you know, success that you're having. Then you should have, I hope you feel tremendous pride in what you all are accomplishing. So anyway, just a small note about the data. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think that you're actually right. You're absolutely right. I should say that we have been doing this for a long time, and you know, in the early stages during the pandemic, where we were creating these strategies and trying to mobilize them at scale, we did a significant amount of that data mining. And one of the things we're aware of is that we need to be able to do a revision to the assessment of need, essentially, and then look at where our programs have had an impact and be able to start that process over again. So we're kind of, you know, I know that Anne was hoping we would have all of the community Wi-Fi projects done, so then we could go back out, and that's going to happen really, really soon. So I do think it's an important point, and you're absolutely right. I think it's at a point where we've talked about it so much and have done some of that reporting, but it's absolutely essential to always center ourselves in the communities that we've been serving, and like you said, the intentionality of the team in reaching the right households. So thank you for that comment.
Yeah, and so much, it's really, the comment's really rooted in like, you know, it's sort of like, you know, do more bragging, like brag on yourselves even more, like show how impactful this actually is. You have it in your heads, or you have that data stored in a folder on your drive somewhere, but just, you know, revive that data. It doesn't have to be the most updated. It can be, hey, here's what we have, you know, the most recent data. Just, you know, things don't change drastically from year to year, but, you know, I mean, I just think it would really sort of you know, really drive it home, I think. But, you know, just to see that coverage area, how large it is just overwhelming. And, you know, the number of devices and, you know, even if it's an estimate, the fact that you're reaching somewhere beyond 100,000 people who couldn't access this service, is just, you know, it's what city government's supposed to be doing in this day and age, and you're doing it. And it's just a very, very humbling thing to see. So I love just popping in and being a fly on the wall, and getting to see this great work. And I really admire what y'all are doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sisser. All right, we have Commissioner Westfall and then Commissioner Mendoza.
Hi, I just wanted to express my thanks. I was let go from my job due to COVID, and I have soon to be 12-year-old twins, and I'm a single mom. And so I did use the library resources and got hotspots for the kids. I was also a pod mom. We had 3 families here at our house that were doing pod, and we'd go to the 3 different houses, and we all had hotspots because my network couldn't take it with all that streaming. And so super grateful that San Jose was able to offer this. And it was a really good resource for us. I didn't know about it, honestly, until one of my friends told me. And it saved us quite a bit of grief, having 4 kids trying to stream at the same time. So I'm really appreciative. I just wanted to let the whole commission know about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It makes it real, of course. Commissioner Mendoza.
Well, thank you for the presentation. I really appreciated the map. I'm a visual person, and for some reason I thought the coverage was maybe a few blocks, right? And just to see the enormous coverage of the area is just amazing. And I'm just really excited with all the work that's been done. I can't believe it's going to be, you're going to reach your goal next month. And so it's so exciting. But I was curious, you mentioned that there is, in spring of 2023, there's going to be, you know, after the meetings, more talk about expansion, right? And looking at how to continue growing the community Wi-Fi program. And so is there something in the works for long-term that you have planned, or is it too soon right now to be talking about it and you're waiting to spring?
These types of discussions, thank you for the question. And I'll also just take a moment to say thank you to the other two commissioners that have shared. I was sharing with Chair Wendy before the meeting started that this quarter feels like a long slog up to the holidays, and it's really gratifying to hear from all of you. So thank you very much. And our team is incredible, and we wouldn't be doing any of it without every single member of the library team that touches those hotspots and problem solves the kid that brought it back without the charger and buys new boxes for the laptops, right? So it's a pretty substantial effort and it's pretty incredible. Oh, are you going to join the commission meeting? Yeah. Hey, everybody. In terms of community Wi-Fi, that discussion and conversation is iterative. Hey, Mommy. Yeah. Here I am. Yeah, here you are. The discussion is really iterative. It's about taking consideration and understanding of where the need is as we're continuing to digest the census data, understanding also where we have fiber capabilities and where we don't have fiber capabilities, or what it would take to extend fiber optic cabling into an area. And so there's some iteration and evolution of understanding what the possibilities are, and then stack ranking those possibilities and then seeking feedback on them. And we're not to the point yet where we can seek feedback because we're still wanting to make really sure that once we do stack rank them on a list of potential, then we're really committing to those, because then the public should have confidence that we can move those areas forward. And so we are having internal discussions. We're not ready to take those externally yet. But we will be doing that in a very big way in the spring, in alignment with the feedback that will come in on the digital equity and broadband strategy report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just, if I could add, you know, as we go into the this next year with our budget conversations, not just the library, but the city, it is going to be really important to understand and to hear from the communities that you know, how this work is important, where future investments should be focused, recognizing there's always limited resources. But as you all know, with the pandemic, it was, you know, such a traumatic time for the entire city, but more so for households in need. But what it actually allowed us to do was invest really directly in sort of light year advancements in some of this work that I don't know if it would have happened in the same way. And so, you know, as we get back to sort of a pseudo normal, just making sure that we're positioning this work so that it remains a high priority for the city, and then we're understanding where those best investments are. And so I really appreciate the commissioners, and many of you are part of community advocacy groups as well, who come to council and have, especially on this work, chimed in, and school boards and all of that. And so we really, you know, seek your guidance and your ideas as we go forward through our budget process.
Great. Thank you. Thank you all. I think I don't know if it's the heaviest lift, but it's sure one of the heaviest lifts during the well, they're all heavy, but God, this was a heavy one. During the pandemic and up to now. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to have to celebrate after December. That is for sure. And you need to take a vacation. Sorry, Jill. Okay, moving on to the point of we're going to do take a vote on, first I need of course, someone to make a motion to take a vote on accepting the Digital Literacy and Public Technology Initiative Outreach and Performance report.
I'll move, Angelica or Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramos. Can I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I
Anyone opposed? Anyone need to abstain? So moved. We have moved this item along. Congratulations. It's wonderful. We're so excited. All right, Mariella, I'm really think this might be your last one. Congratulations to the city council member. And we'd love to have you give us your report.
So hi everybody, I'm Mariela Garcia with Councilwoman Arenas' office. I just briefly wanted to share a preview of the next Neighborhood Services and Education Committee meeting, which will be held on Thursday, December 8th at 1:30 p.m., both in the council chambers and via Zoom. And so some of the items that will be heard by the committee on December 8th include the Digital Equity and Empowerment Program Status Report, as well as the Children and Youth Services Master Plan Status Reports, and the Family Friendly Initiative Report. And so all, those three, and there's a few more items, but those three specifically are in key alignment with the Commission's priorities. So I just wanted to make sure to flag those for you. And finally, on behalf of Councilmember Arenas and the District 8 team, we just really wanted to wish you all a happy holiday season. As many of you know, the city of San Jose is going to be undergoing several transitions in the new year. And so it has certainly been a pleasure for the District 8 office to serve as your council liaisons. I don't just speak for myself when I say that we have learned so much from you and also from your leadership. And we really want to thank you for your partnership and advocating for all children and families in San Jose. And we're wishing you a lot of luck in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariela. Same right back at you. And please give Councilwoman Arenas our best.
Of course.
Okay, we're moving on. I'm going to give my just two items to talk about. One, I was lucky enough to go to the Library Foundation event. And it was spectacular, wonderful. I hadn't been to one. I even gave up a San Jose Unified meeting for it because I really wanted to see how our Library Foundation does. And boy, am I glad I made that decision. Wonderful. I don't even know how much work was done, but the library, MLK Library, was transformed into a wonderland. And it was so much fun. I will say it was a little strange drinking alcohol in a library, having a glass of wine. I was like, oh, it was very fun. And then I loved the auctioneer. He was wonderful. And I definitely, I'm happy I won or auctioned the Makerspace. So I can't wait to have an event using the Makerspace. So that's going to be fun. My second announcement is I have been a part of the City of San Jose's Children and Youth Service Master Planning with the mayor's office and the city manager's office. I've represented, or I say when I'm there, the Library Commission and Education Commission, San Jose Unified, and multiple partners as an advocate for children and families. They're developing the master plan that will be to City Council in June, that came from City Council in June, sorry. The staff are lifting voices and experiences of our diverse communities, and in particular, those most vulnerable and underserved, to inform the master plan. The overarching vision of the master plan is to provide all San Jose children and youth, young adults, birth through age 24, and their families with resources and supports to have increased opportunities from cradle to career, to achieve their educational, vocational, and career goals that lead to better health outcomes, sustainable employment, and competitive living wage, so that we can live and thrive in this community. To provide our diverse community partners, families, and youth, young people, an opportunity to share their insights and shape their vision of the City and Youth Services Master Plan. They're hosting a number of community conversations or focus groups. from now until mid-December. I've put in the chat the Bitly if you want to sign up. The two that are left, one is on Tuesday, December 6th from 9 to 10 a.m. And the second one is Tuesday, December 13th from 1 to 2 p.m. The city manager's office anticipates completing the master plan in late April, early May 2023. I can tell you from being a part of it that they are, this particular effort has really taken into account lots and lots of voices, from inclusion folk, from neighborhood folk, from kids, from littles and bigs, from folks certainly thinking about economic sustainability and living in the Bay Area and particular Silicon Valley. So I highly encourage all commissioners who want to have a say to sign up for the last of the two, I think, through December focus groups. I think they're going to do those two in person, actually. So that should be fun. I'll be at one of them. Okay, that's my report. Jill, you're up.
Oh, thank you, Chair Wendy. So this month I have a few updates. One is that the San Jose Public Library has been nominated and selected to receive the Work to Future Community Builder Award as an outstanding partner. Now, Work to Future launched the Community Builder Awards more than a decade ago to recognize individuals and businesses and other organizations who shine as examples of achievement and service in the area of workforce development. Since 2016, the library has proudly partnered with Work to Future to provide San Jose youth an opportunity to obtain work experience in both our branch libraries and our units at the King Library. Library staff have created a 20-hour per week curriculum so youth workers could learn about civic issues, strengthen their social and emotional skills, and receive college and career readiness support. And this past spring, youth workers were also invited to participate in a 6-week social media and marketing internship presented by Teen HQ at King Library. I wanted to take a moment to recognize and thank our staff who support our youth workers: Candace Tran, Lizzie Nolan, Ebony Harris, Megan Malloy, Liesl Jackson, Jeff Brennian, and all the SJPL site supervisors. So a big thank you to our teams for all their work. Also join us this year for the 10th annual Local Lit Author Event. Over the past 10 years, the San Jose Public Library and the San Jose State University Library have teamed up to support more than 150 Bay Area authors by inviting them to showcase their work, discuss their process, and share the inspiration for their books. This year's Local Lit program will be held virtually on Saturday, December 10th from 2 to 4:30 p.m. Local Lit 2022 will feature 15 authors from a variety of backgrounds who will discuss their recently published works and take questions from the public. Librarians will lead Q&A sessions, and the authors will make copies of their books available for checkout. For details, please visit sjpl.org. Students in grades K to 8 are also invited to visit the library's homework clubs to receive support from skilled homework coaches and Resilience Corps associates for free. This is just a little regular PSA. Students can receive help in reading, writing, math, social studies, science, and more. Times and dates do vary by location, so for details, please visit our website. And then lastly, our library's expanded learning team continues to establish new partnerships with local education agencies to provide students with access to the library's exclusive student library card. During the 2022-23 academic year, the library started to work with Bellarmine High School, Presentation High School, and the Foundation for Hispanic Education. The student library card provides K-12 students the opportunity to access electronic resources and also check out up to 5 physical items with no late fees. To date, 20 local education agencies have joined the library student library card initiative, providing public library access to nearly 100,000 students to support their academic and career achievement goals. So for a complete list of participating schools, you can visit our sjpl.org/student card. And if you know of any schools or associated with schools who would like to participate, please have them reach out to us. And that concludes my announcements. I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Jill. Any commissioners have questions for Jill? All right, moving along. All right,
I was slow to raise my hand. I'm sorry. I do have
Go
a
ahead,
question.
Commissioner Brown.
You know, with the library cards going out to schools, I know that, you know, there's a great benefit to being able to access a lot of things online with the library. Are we partnering with some of these schools so that in their media labs, there's an opportunity for students to learn that navigation?
Yes, for the most part, and I'm sure we could provide more detail, but that is part of the program, is that it focuses heavily on the ability to utilize the huge world of digital resources from the schools using their library card for free. So all the databases that we subscribe to, all the services that can be accessed in the learning resources, and also then how to search the catalog. And so I know one of the exciting things for our librarians since the end of the pandemic, or the stage we're in, is being able to get back into the classrooms. And we did virtual visits during the pandemic, and now I know we're doing a combination, but to be able to actually go back out, and that's one of the biggest things they do, is talk about the value of that library card and what they can do with it. And just in case it wasn't clear in my comments, that one of the great things about this library card is that it is associated with a student's student ID. So it actually follows them through school. And that way, the student can follow the ID, or the library card follows them wherever they go. They don't have to get a new one every year. If they lose it, it doesn't matter. It's their account, right? So it's pretty exciting in that way, and hopefully builds their knowledge throughout their school career.
That's great. Thank you. Does that answer it for you, Commissioner Brown? All right, Commissioner Thurston.
I just wanted to say my daughter got her student library card last year in TK, and she's part of the San Jose Unified District. And whoever did the messaging between the library and teachers did an outstanding job, because she came home and that was like the first thing she told us about. So just wanted to say, whatever communication is going out, it's working. And she was really excited about it, and she still has access to the card this year. So it's really fantastic.
That's great to hear. Thank you. I will pass that on to our expanded learning team. They've done a great job. And San Jose Unified was our big whale, as you guys know, because it has the most students, and to get that agreement in place and know that all those kids will start school with a library card every year is really great. Thank you.
Thank you. I know Commissioner Magana was a big advocate in that particular work. So we will pass along that message to Commissioner Thurston, to him. All right, anyone else? Okay, moving on. Any commissioners want to give comment or updates around their friends groups? Commissioner Kelly.
Sure, thank you. Couple of comments first. What happened to the Youth Commission? I don't see anything on the agenda tonight for that.
The Youth Commission, they chose not to report at this meeting because originally we weren't going to start this meeting until 8:30 when we had originally scheduled to have the bond update, and that was a little late for them to also do their homework and do other things. So they'll rejoin us in January.
That's good. Thank you. I always appreciate hearing about what they're doing. Another comment, probably the law of unintended consequences. The Wi-Fi system working at the libraries has provided an opportunity for those libraries who choose to have it to have a free scanner from one of the wholesale companies that we work with in friends groups. The scanner can't work unless there's a Wi-Fi connection. So they're able now on their own to scan the ISBN number on the books and see how much they're worth. If they have something worth a couple of $100,000, oh, so much better for them. But that's, an unintended consequence, I think, of the Wi-Fi program. A couple of things that deal directly with the Friends also. Really happy to announce that Bascom Friends have been working for quite some time on getting a crosswalk across the street on Bascom Avenue to the new project that's going on directly across. And it was confirmed by City of San Jose and the council office that there will be a safe crossing for people to get back and forth across Bascom Avenue. Lots of people don't know that Bascom Avenue used to be Highway 17, so that's the amount of traffic that goes on there. A couple of other things. Cambrian's going to have a book sale this Saturday, so if you're interested in getting some low-cost books, go to the Cambrian Library. Bascom Library had a super successful book sale on this past month. A good amount of dollars, so we're happy with that. I'm curious also if someone can help me understand a little bit more about the All Friends group. There's been many questions come up with friends organizations wondering when we're going to have an All Friends meeting. I don't have an answer for them. I'm curious if there is a liaison with the administration for the library that can help us move forward on getting that organization back online. And finally, meetings attended by commissioners. You mind if I jump onto that one, or you want me to wait?
Go right ahead.
Okay. There was a question and a suggestion at a previous commission meeting about Braille books at the library. And that's an important question for me. I'm not blind and I'm not sight impaired, but it's an important question to see how we can better interact with the blind and vision impaired community. So to that end, I've joined up with the Vista Center for the Blind on Bascom Avenue to see what needs they may think are important for that population within the city of San Jose. So I'll be reporting back on that when I get some more information from it. And I will put myself on mute.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly.
Yep.
Are there other commissioners who'd like to report out to events or activities they went to as commissioners? Looking around the room. All right, moving on. We are, I'm sure, going to have a spectacular update from our Library Foundation board and our liaison, Commissioner Thorson.
Yes, so Chair Wendy gave us a great preview of the gala experience. The 35th gala was held at the MLK branch October 20th and was, as she said, really spectacular. It was great to see the library so transformed and so many fun interactive activities, and it was fun to see all the library staff who were there too, and foundation people I haven't seen in such a long time. So the event itself was hugely successful. It raised more than $335,000 and had over 330 people in attendance. If you are interested, there's a video of the people who've been impacted by the foundation's programs that was put together. And you can also see the event photos on Flickr. And so big thank you to all of the foundation staff and people who helped out with making sure the event was such a success. And then the foundation also over this last month welcomed 3 new staff members. Charmin Gaines is the new grants assistant. Lori Watanabe is the institutional development manager. Sam Perry is the development coordinator. And lastly, we're approaching the end of the year and the annual giving time. And so keep the foundation in mind and feel free to spread the word with your social networks that the foundation has many ways that you can support them. Many employers offer matching programs. It's also a really great alternative holiday gift. If you have some people on your list and you're not sure what physical item to buy them, a gift to the Library Foundation supports so many wonderful programs. So just something to keep in mind as we're reaching the end of the year. I know it's hard to believe. It seems like the year has flown by. So it's been a really successful fall for the foundation and really thrilling to see an in-person gala after so long. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have to say, just as on top of it, the theme was so great and the events to go around and get marked off. We get to do a lot of fun things, but I have to say that my memory that stands out with this really fancy, imaginative cocktails. They were beautiful, really beautiful. And then a bunch of people dancing at the end. I thought that was so fun. Okay, we are moving right along. Information, of course, if you want for upcoming events, go to our website. Let's see, do folks have any items for future commission meeting agendas that they'd like for library staff to consider? Looking around the room. All right. So with the correction, our next regular meeting will be held on January 18th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And I certainly hope to wish you all a wonderful season with whatever you celebrate with your family, friends, community, work partners, as we won't see each other until the new year. And if you can believe it, we're going to be seeing each other in 2023. So with that, I'm calling this meeting adjourned for this year at 8:14 p.m. Thank you, everybody, and happy holidays.
Bye all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Cassie, thanks so much. Feel free to actually go home and leave the office now.
Okay, I'll see you guys all tomorrow.
Feel better.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Cassie.
Oh, she